Krista, I am so excited to be with you here today. It has been like the highlight of my schedule at the end of Friday, and I was like, I'm exhausted and yet so excited to talk to you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love our conversations because I always walk away with more energy than when I came in, but especially on Fridays. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Well, ditto back at you. You really inspire me, which creates me to get even more excited to meet a woman as powerful as you, speaking the language of human care and really providing services around human care in cybersecurity, having the knowledge of how a cyber professional thinks and feels, and certainly all professionals. And so, you really inspire me. You're out doing things that are changing the game, and I appreciate it. And I have similar, if not exact, views. So, I'm thrilled to be able to share you with the folks that I know out there. I want them to know about you. So let's start with you. Let's start with, you're what I call a trailblazer for human transformation. And you're doing it in a way that is giving frameworks and training and teaching and much more, which we'll get to about the island sitting behind you, which is a whole nother piece of this, everybody. If you don't have your video on, put it on, because Krista's sitting in front of an island that is something that of a retreat that I want to tell you about late at the end of this that we all can meet at. And so, really, Krista, give us a story of how you got to be leading this resilience training collaboration program that you're working on. Tell us about that, and then tell us about your journey, or both.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity. I love working with cybersecurity professionals, executives, CISOs, risk experts, as well as entrepreneurs and emerging leaders. They give me passion and really fulfill what gets me up in the morning, which is helping people to find their purpose. And the real spark in professional and personal development came, I think, the first time that I got up on stage in about second grade. We actually in Arizona had this speaking class, and it was really early on, and I felt for the first time of getting up in front of my class and telling a joke and kind of feeling empowered in front of the class. And that started my journey of really loving to speak and to help people learn. And through that, that's kind of continued throughout the whole course of my story. When I had my daughters, when I was pregnant, I really got this urge to leave a legacy and to not just, have a job and make lots of money and do kind of the American dream. I wanted all of that. I was raised by hippies who traveled all over the country and never really had a stable home or, knew where that next paycheck was coming from. So that stability was really important. But the wanting to leave a legacy and to continue to have a place where my kids could follow their dreams and really live this American dream. So I think those are some of the origins of what's propelled me to where I am today. But most recently, I was, as I like to say, blessed with my last corporate layoff during this pandemic when COVID hit, and it was April 18th, and I had really just 6 months before created this role of Vice President of Global Alliances for a 30-year-old software company that had transitioned to a data security platform protecting unstructured data. I had this great dream job that I created. I had doubled my salary from my previous role, which was working for the CISO of the largest research and advisory firm in the world to build a global information security program. So had lots of really interesting, exciting experiences. But I knew I had this passion for entrepreneurship and for teaching and coaching, and really wanted to get to the root of the problem that I had experienced in my last 10 years of working with CIOs and CISOs, which if you ask a CIO, what is the biggest challenge in whatever your top initiative is, whether it's digital transformation or it's creating a new digital business line, whatever they're being expected to do, it's not usually the technology, it's not usually the process that's the challenge. It's usually the people. So it's that, finding the right people, motivating the right people, keeping them engaged, and really finding ways to connect and inspire people to do their best work. And that's really the core of the problem that I'm working to solve in this next chapter.
That's why I have to make sure that everybody knows about you, because as you know, I've been out talking about emotional intelligence, which is the same concept, or not the same thing. We're talking about the same thing, right? And it's near and dear to my heart. I see it all day long in talent acquisition, which is what my day job is, right? Servicing organizations for cyber talent and servicing professionals to find their next move. These are very serious situations, and a lot of emotions, and super in tune. We're all super in tune with our clientele, and this capacity of jobs is at the heart of how we support each other, ourselves, and so forth and so forth. And unfortunately, I see lots of turnover. Lots and lots of turnover. I mean, the statistic for CISOs is 18 months on average. And so we all know, considering how broken job searching is, that means they were searching for a year. That means they started their search before their first year even. That means breakdown of relationships almost immediately, and agreements. And it so breaks my heart. And so I go out there and, have an hour talk all the time, and I'm out there, and you put this into a service, which I'm super excited about, and because we need to really own this as a society. And this means making agreements with each other, right? Managing those agreements, really, owning that we're managing tasks and projects in a way that works, so that it's not about how we feel about another human or judge them or what have you, right? I mean, I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. So tell us more about this program and your plans to scale.
So this program's an evolution, and it's also an invention, which is the fun part. It's combining the, really starting at the top with leadership, because all change within an organization has to start at the top. But it's empowering leaders to really discover who they truly are. So coming from my root and core, which is I have my bachelor's degree in advertising and public relations with a minor in marketing. I have a master's degree in business management with a track in entrepreneurship, and I've taught business communications and entrepreneurship and creativity at the college level. So education-wise, I come from this kind of marketing, advertising, branding world. And then I have run a marketing and design and branding company on the side, as I've kind of had my real jobs in corporate America. And then my husband and I have had a marketing company that we've run since 2004. So there's really this marketing sales background that I'm coming from, but then having worked with CIOs, CISOs, and experts, technical experts, cybersecurity professionals, I have learned really that, we're all in sales, we're all in marketing, and in order to make change, make an impact, achieve our goals, be successful together, we've got to really learn how to communicate at the core level and build our own personal brands, which start with really knowing who we are as people. And then from there, you can discover, you discover who you are in this program by really assessing where you are currently from your own perspective and where your personal power comes from, and then also what drains it. We really dive deep. You talk about emotional intelligence. What I've learned in really exploring emotional intelligence is that it goes to the level of energy intelligence. And it's about managing and understanding where our energy comes from, what empowers us, why, we can get on a call like this and be excited and revved up and inspired by each other because we are in this state of high energy. And when, there are some calls that we're completely dreading and that completely drain us and suck our will to live, so that we really explore deep into energy and how that affects your emotions, and then how it affects how you show up, and whether you listen to kind of the dark wolf or the light wolf, right? In this positive intelligence course that I'm actually taking myself, we talk about saboteurs and sage. So there's this inner judge, and these saboteurs, like mine, my highest one is victim. I tend to, just if I get reprimanded, or I feel like I'm getting negative feedback, or I did something wrong, I tend to kind of shrink into that, oh, poor me, So recognizing, putting characters to these thoughts, and to these neural pathways that we've built up in our brains based on stress and fear and overwhelm, and how we react to that with kind of your primitive brain, which is that ego or the saboteur or the judge, and then your higher level brain, which is your sage or your white wolf or your highest self. Or you can actually give it a character, like mine is Glinda the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz. So that's kind of the first part of this whole journey is really the discovery.
Right? Yes, of course. And I liken it to no different than the discovery of, let's say hard skills, we'll use the term, in the time that must be invested in learning first. What is it? What is your brain? How does it work? What's happening? What are emotions? Where do they come from? Why do they come at certain times? That was literally at 33 when I took my first transformational mind dynamics course, which was a weekend long, right from the get-go. Like if you smoked, you couldn't smoke cigarettes. If you had caffeine, you couldn't drink caffeine, right? And you're staying in a hotel, and I'm there to be enlightened and learn about myself, to continue to prosper, and to realize how the brain works was the most powerful thing. And that it's focusing on human and yourself and others as much as we focus on the technical skills or the hard skills, if you will. And so that's the also what I love about your program, and also what I did in the past is it's ongoing. It's not this one time or one weekend. I did the weekend, I did many, many, many weekends and many nights, and really just incorporated it into everything I do. Brought it into my companies. I'm always preaching still today, self-care, which is what this is, and to the ability to care for others, we got to care for ourselves. And so, anybody who's listening here, this is about skills, and they'll bring happiness faster than anything else that I've made as a skill, right? Because it's fun to discover. It's not about like thinking badly about ourselves. It's just being empowered. Like you said, like the victim is your number one go-to, right? And yet that's not disempowering to know. It's actually empowering, because when you go there, you can get out of it quicker, right? Because
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest questions that we're looking to answer in the discovery phase is, where am I self-sabotaging and holding myself back? And who am I, authentically when I don't listen to those voices? And once you're able to do that as a leader, then you're able to communicate in a way that you can empower your people to show up as their authentic selves too. And that's, part of the challenge is, with digital transformation, with building a cybersecurity program, it's breaking down these silos, it's building trust, and it's giving people a way to visualize and internalize the challenges and opportunities that you face as a company. Whether that's in taking on a new digital initiative or allocating budget to IT or technology, or whether it's in rolling out a successful security awareness program or engagement program. If you're speaking the same language and connecting at the deepest levels, and you can facilitate that level of trust, it all starts with, first knowing who you are and being able to communicate that, and then having the tools and the framework to, in phase two. So phase one is discovery. Phase two is define. It's actually making decisions that will make you happy. So, who are the people that you want to support and serve and engage to, to make progress in your life, to live your purpose? What is their potential, and what's your potential together? And then what is your actual purpose? So you, through that, after you discover who you are, then you start defining who you want to help serve, what problems you want to solve, and that is really, what your purpose is. And I like to look at it not as, your purpose in life, where you may have an overarching purpose, but someone like me who has a lot of different interests and passions, I have multiple areas of purpose, and I look at it based on, what's this next chapter of my life, and how is it leading up to my next big rock or moonshot or milestone, which, as you alluded to, is the property behind me, our Treedom, which is going to be our treehouse and houseboat retreat on an island. So that's kind of the first half of the program.
Right. For executives, right? This is, I'll come back to the program because I have some questions, but real quickly, the islands for retreat, wellness, right? And you've got some very important people involved.
Yeah, so the retreat and Treedom, the whole idea is around connecting to nature, connecting to each other, and connecting to your vision and your purpose as an executive team, as a leadership team, and along with the most important people in your life. So bringing your family, if you choose to do so, and allowing your team to bring their families so that you're growing together. The ideas are really in the kind of nascent stage right now, but it came about in 2015 when I was, again, blessed with a layoff from what I thought was my dream job. And I had done a lot of work to secure this position, commercializing what I thought was going to be world-changing technology, converting saltwater, sunlight, and carbon dioxide directly into ethanol by feeding it to algae and producing fresh water in the process. It was just like one of those, mind-boggling technologies that was going to change the world. And what I discovered there was, after I didn't get the job the first time, I was one of the last two candidates. They chose a different candidate, and then realized that they still had some missing pieces to their team. So they called me to come in, and also basically they split the job, and there were two jobs now. So I came in and realized that while there was huge potential in this technology and in this company, there were also really big culture challenges, and there was a culture of fear and a lot of pressure, since they've been working for 7 years and hadn't commercialized the product yet. So I was able to come in and really learn a tremendous amount about, great things to do within cultures, and then things that really held people back. And then after working for 6 weeks, I was laid off with about 40% of the company. And I had 8 weeks of severance and time where I said, okay, I've, learned a tremendous amount in my career. I've gotten experience in running my own company, in working for a public company, in working for startups, in following my passion, following my skills and expertise, but I really, really, really just want to find my purpose in life. So that was the goal I set out, and that's how I started to really create this framework, this kind of purpose equation. And then the other half is actually living it, and it's the implementation, the doing, and then the reviewing, and really measuring your progress and taking the time to pause and to feel gratitude and be grateful and give, which are really big pieces of the equation that people don't always understand how all of the pieces work together.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, this is the bigger problem that we do have, because it ties to how much time we're taking to just be with nature, which is super important to our psyches naturally. It's a stress release. Our food, our water, how much we exercise or don't exercise, too much, too little, sleep, that connection with the planet and ourselves is a big piece of why we're seeing the stresses we're seeing in work, because there's an incredible need for focus, and high intelligence is being really utilized in all senses at one time. And so in order to give that kind of focus consistently, one must run a program of self-care of the human, and that is an attachment to this earth as well. And being the 1% of women that have in the United States of America founded a technical organization on their own, that is why I sit here, and a successful organization at that, 6 years in, is that I had to and was forced to own that. And thank goodness I found a coach like you. Literally, it was when I was in my early 30s. I mean, I'm so thankful. Again, another reason why I want to make sure that help promote you. I mean, this information, for one, is game changing. And number two, the skill of learning it is through communicating with others and practicing with others and getting feedback. And so having a support system, having a class, if you will, and classes, is a huge piece of human development's ability, is to see it in others. Like I was able to see things in others easier than seeing in myself. I'm sure you saw this too, right? And how powerful is that? So I love that you're now tying in this. Okay, so again, I've got your attention. Now let me help you even more. Let me bring you to nature, because all these concepts I'm giving you, they're not going to work as well if you're not connected with nature. And we're playing for the highest level. I know I am. I'm playing for the highest level of happiness I can have every day. And I made that decision at 28 when I had to make health decisions and stop smoking and all these things versus have a career. And so I'm like your biggest fan. And tying this back to the course that you're in, it's a 12 weeks. You've already kicked it off, and you've got how many people do you have in here right now that do your first class?
Yeah, so the first one, we have 24 executives who are going through this first version. And these are, like I said, it's a collaboration and co-creation journey. So we're really creating it together. I'm providing the framework and the guidance and the structure. And then the executives, every participant, is doing their own work. And this first course is really about resilience and identifying, what is the biggest focus of your resilience right now? Is it developing your personal brand and focusing on the next level of your career? Or are you at the place that you want to be and you really want to invest in your team and your tribe and promoting those around you? Or are you looking to expand your impact and start a startup or a side gig? Even if you're currently an executive, maybe you are an entrepreneur and you want to put all of your focus in your business, and that's your resilience, plan. Or maybe you're in that last phase of your career, you're at the legacy stage, you've reached the pinnacle, and it's time to give back, and it's time to bring the next level of leaders up with you with a succession plan or a legacy plan or a giving or a movement. Whatever that is, I am helping people to create their own resilience roadmaps in this challenge. When it comes to October, I'm partnering with the CISO from the National Institute of Health, Jyoti Dugar, who really focuses on harnessing the power of chaos. So as our world has kind of spun a little bit faster in 2020, and we are both moving faster and slower and adapting and changing very quickly, a crisis is a horrible thing to waste. So why not take advantage of it and really be able to apply this framework that I've developed? I call it the personal strategic planning prism. We're combining it to have a chaos prism so that you can see clearly through the good chaos, the bad chaos, the ugly chaos that you bring on yourself, and really set your team, your company, yourself up for success for 2021. So that next program is really meant for executive teams, and it's a collaboration, co-creation, 12-week journey that helps you really install this new, authentic operating system that will help you form your culture and really set the framework, the language, the tools, and the processes to help with the personal transformation before or during your digital transformation journeys.
I love how you use the technical words and the business acumen into this conversation. It is appropriate and wonderful at the same time. More people will be able to understand the message. For whatever reason, we condition society to think soft skills are not important or lame even, or and so the conversation of communication skills and win-win, and it's wonderful if it lands on you. It's wonderful. It doesn't mean that language lands on everybody, right? And your language is much more universal for this community, for sure. So I thank you for that as well. I enjoy hearing it. It tickles me. Like, you can see me as you're talking, it's like, it's so awesome. And I seek to do as much of it as I can as well. I love that I was asking you about the picture behind me and can you see it? And you're like, no, but it'd be a great Easter egg, It's like right on, really incorporating and showing that intelligent technical people also need this skill set and want it, and we're all the same, really, which is just fascinating. So I thank you for your work. It is such a pleasure to be in your presence, and I look forward to consuming your content more and more myself. And I'm super excited to hear about all the success that's coming from really helping people transform more happiness, right? It's not about anything other than more happiness. And only the person that feels happiness can decide what that is. And that's the most interesting part about all of this, is we choose our own emotions.
Absolutely. And the happiness, to me, it really comes from this pursuit of purpose and the knowing that you start to get once you know you're on your path, and you start to really see that it's not about having, it's about doing, or it's about being first,
Yeah.
and then doing, and then you have, you know, the results. You get to reap the rewards from what you actually do. But the being is the first place, and you can be happy, you can choose to be happy no matter what your circumstances are. And there are a million examples. Just go to YouTube and, you know, search inspiration or happiness, and you can see the people who, you know, went from homeless to billionaires, and you see all of these success stories of anything really is possible. But if you don't focus on who you actually want to be when you grow up rather than what you want to be, then you tend to get caught in this, you know, tsunami chaos, and you forget, like, what was the whole point of this to begin with, right? And you can
Yeah.
get really lost. And especially in cyber, where your whole job is to find, you know, the criminals, the sneaks, the things that are wrong, the, you know, the bad things, if you will. And that's what you get rewarded for. You may not be celebrated for it, you may be hated for it in some instances, and you may be banging your head against the wall because you're trying to get people to help themselves, and they don't understand why, or they won't slow down long enough to do that. So when
Yeah.
you're able to just know every morning that you're living on purpose, your purpose is actually securing the future, and you have the people who are surrounding you that are supporting you and are, you know, helping you with your purpose, then you can take on those days where it just seems daunting, and you seem like you're getting beat up, but you've got that fortitude because you've built it, you've strengthened those muscles, and you've installed that program of knowing how to handle anything that comes your way. So
Right.
that's really the goal, and the mission here is to fortify those executives, entrepreneurs, emerging leaders, and experts who are actively inventing and securing the future, and really raising people up in the process. We focus on companies that are heart-led, that have people who know that they want to do the work, need to do the work, but haven't, you know, focused the time and energy in doing the work. And we give them the tools, the operating system, and the manual to continue to manage that in the future, and really spread it to their teams. So that's the
Yeah.
vision.
Can't buy happiness. This is, you gotta work at it every day and own it, like you said now, like being, and it's possible, and just giving the information and the how to access it is a gift. And I'm thankful I found it a long time ago. I know that the more people that find it, the better off we all are. We'll be calmer and more focused, and less physical and mental pain means we're going to just bring more joy to the world. And so, how do people get a hold of you, Christa? What's the best way?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is my favorite social media. You can find me, Christa Pusateri, and you can reach out there. I'm happy to connect. If you're interested in this journey, whether it's the Chaos Prism Executive Program we're launching in October, or the Executive Women's Retreat that we are planning for December, either of those, you can reach out to me directly as well. Future Advisory Board is my community that I'm launching that is facilitating the collaboration. And then I'm also launching the podcast, Securing the Future. So if you're interested in being a guest and sharing your story and promoting a cause that you're passionate about, I encourage you to find Securing the Future on Apple Podcasts or Anchor FM or Spotify. Reach out to me directly, and would love to promote your passion story as well. So thank you so much for having me, Deidre. It's been such a pleasure, and I love the conversation, and look forward to seeing you in really achieving your mission and connecting employers and candidates and promoting equality throughout this process and really staying in touch with the human. I think it's so important, and I love the work that you're doing as well. So thank you.
Yeah, awesome. You're welcome, and ditto. And we'll make sure that all of your contact information is shared for those of you that didn't have something to write that down with. And we'll do more. We'll do more. We'll keep in touch and keep sharing with the community. And thank you again for what you do.
Thank you.